Okay, today's activity, we're going to use a motion 2 detector from Vernier and the LabQuest 2 to explore the relationship between a position graph and a velocity graph, which we've already talked about some, but we're going to look at it from a different standpoint and do a little hands-on. Your motion detector 2 looks like this. When we use it, we're going to flip it up, and the switch should be on the person walking with the basketball. That's the normal switch. So the switch should be over there. There's only one place to plug it in, on the side. You can see that right there. You will plug it into the LabQuest on the side, not on the channel 1, 2, and not on the channel 1, 2, and 3. Do not use these. Use the side where it says digital. Okay. Anytime we plug any device into the digital plug-ins, the LabQuest has to be off first. So you turn the LabQuest off, make sure it's off, you plug it in, then you turn it up and it'll power on. Once it's set, you should have a picture like this where it says digital 1 if you're in channel 1, that could say digital 2 if you're in channel 2, and it gives you the position. That's how far away the wall is from where the motion detector is. When we actually use the motion 2 detector, we'll take the part of the detector that has the sonic generator and you flip it up and make a right angle. As I said before, the switch should be on the man with the basketball, so you put it at a right angle. Then you will face the wall, and as you move it back and forth to the wall, you should be able to form a graph showing your position from the wall. There are a couple settings we need to change before we do our lab or an activity. The duration needs to be 30 seconds. If it's already 30 seconds, then you don't have to do this. If it's not, you click on duration, you click on the number that's there, which in this case is 5, you click 30, and you hit done. Then let's go to the curved line is the graph mode, so I'm going to go to graph, and I'm going to show graph. I'm only going to show graph 1, which is the position graph. So now we're going to generate a position graph. So as I showed you before, you're going to take your motion 2 detector, you're going to face the wall, be about 1 meter. The range on this is 2 meters, so I'd start at about 1 meter, and you hit play. Should have a basically flat line. Then I'm going to move toward the wall. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to move away from the wall. And then I'm going to stop. I'm just going to do a simple little valley graph. It will stop at 30 seconds. You can stop it sooner. Okay. We know, now each person, since we're going to have to take turns using this, once you get this graph, this is the graph I want you to do. Your slopes will be different than my slopes, but we know from before we have talked about how the slope of the position should give us the slope of the velocity. So I want to know what the slope is. So I highlight just the part that's sloping down. I'm going to avoid this little corner here because that's where I'm changing. That's where I'm changing from moving toward the wall to stopping. So that means my acceleration isn't constant there. So I go to Analyze. I want the slope, which means I need this y equals mx plus b curve, so I go to curve fit, I click position, I want a linear curve, and my slope is negative 0.12. So we'll see in a minute if that matches the velocity. So I want everybody, so you go ahead and do that for your graph. Find the slope of this line and the slope of this line. So let's check to see if the slope of these lines, now in this case my line, I changed speeds there, so it's probably not going to match very well. But we're going to find if the slope of this line matches the velocities. So I'm going to go to graph. I'm going to show all the graphs now. So I'm going to highlight this graph right here. Now if I look at this velocity data, yours may look like this and may not. That looks like it's all over the place. That really tells me that I'm not walking steady. But still, the average of this value should be very, very close to the slope of that line. So I'm going to find out what that average is. Actually, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do curve fit because I picked a little different place here. So I'm going to curve fit and do my position. Now you notice when you do that, that's one thing you're going to find. Sometimes you have to do it twice, because when I clicked on it, it went off. Don't ask me why it does that. So I'm going to choose the linear and redo that. This time my slope is 0.117. Remember, it was, which basically rounds to 0.12, which is what I got last time. So I say that's okay. Then I'm going to analyze. This time I'm going to do statistics. I'm going to find the velocity. Click on your velocity so you can see it, and my mean is 0.124. So my average velocity value is 0.124, which is very close to my slope value. And once you find the percentage difference, let's assume the slope value here is the expected value in this case, and let's see what percentage difference I have in my mean velocity. So do that for this slope and this slope, and every person in your group should do that. Now that you have an idea of how the motion detector works, we're going to see if we can match a graph. So we want to go to graph, and we're just going to show the graph 1, which is the position graph. Then you go to analyze, go down to motion match. We're going to do a new position match. So we're going to try to walk and move and match this graph right here. The first trick you need to do to make this work is you need to find out where it's starting. So just hit play, and I'm pretty close, so I'm going to stop it, hit play again. So I'm right where I need to be to start. You may take a little bit of time to do that. Once you get that, you need to get a feel for the steeper the slope, the faster you have to go. So I'm going to hit play. And you try to match the slope. So what I want you to do is, everybody will use the same graph. You'll get, once you find the starting place, then everybody will get 3 tries at it and decide amongst yourselves who came closest to matching the graph. If you have extra time, you want to try a second graph, that would be fine. This is, the idea is to have you get a feel for the steeper the line is, the faster you have to move. And if you don't like a particular graph, you can always go to motion match and get another one until you find one that you really like. Good luck.